But do you, Paris? We haven't talked about this, so I don't want to mention it. Talk about it before we start our top five. Like for you, what is like your thoughts about this overall? Because I think it's a great thing. It's going to open the doors to get more people to get into the ecosystem and play, Xbox games overall.
So I've been itching to talk about this because we actually got to take this back a calendar year. So a year ago, we obviously started hearing rumors about 4Games and Hi-Fi Rush and all these things potentially going on the PlayStation and Switch and all that. And at the time, it was like, really? I don't know if they're going to do that. Okay, maybe they're going to experiment with something. Obviously, the rumors got to the point where the Xbox leadership had to do an emergency business update podcast, however you want to call it. And they addressed at that time, it's just these 4 games. They want to see what happens. Even then you're thinking, okay, not everything's going to go. They're going to experiment with some older titles, put them on PlayStation and Switch and see what happens, right? Then we got to the June showcase. It escalated a little more. Then we got to Gamescom. We obviously saw Indiana Jones coming to PlayStation 5. Then we've seen some interviews since with Matt Booty and Phil Spencer. No red lines, case-by-case basis, all these things. I want to say, for the record, I have absolutely put my foot in my mouth over the past 12 months with this because I didn't think it was going here. I did not think this. So for that, I was wrong. People that want to clip me and criticize me, totally valid. But here's the reality of everything. This is an Xbox marketing strategy, all of that. They are no longer going to be tied to just the console. And in reality, they haven't been for years because they've obviously been putting their games day and date on PC. I've been saying it past few months, business of gaming is changing. They're being extremely aggressive with it. Not everyone. Look, old heads like us, legacy people, we're not going to be happy about it. We're just not. That because we're used to the old model of you buy the console, there's games that are exclusive on it. That's the reason you buy the console and you go from there. Xbox is obviously looking at this and saying that's no longer what we're going to do. They've been third place as far as hardware goes for a while. They've realized they are not going to catch up with the old model. They're not going to be the market leaders. They've obviously invested $80-90 billion into acquiring Bethesda and Activision. You obviously got to recoup that cost. I'm assuming they've determined they cannot recoup that cost by just going with the old model. They need to be aggressive. They need to expand. The other part of this, the new generation, you are a parent now. I've been a parent for a while. I have used my kids as the test case all the time. They don't care. They literally don't care about brand loyalty. That don't matter to them. They want convenience on where they play. That's all they care about. My kids, hardcore into Fortnite. They play Fortnite on everything. And I think in a weird way, that's kind of where Xbox is headed with this. Xbox is basically saying, we're not going to stop making hardware. We will have a reference model of a console that will go into the next generation. It sounds like with rumors, potentially third-party companies are going to be able to make Xbox hardware. Obviously, we know the handheld's going to be a thing. I'm going to CES. This is going to be something we'll obviously see what Lenovo is doing. It's changing. Games are going to come to PlayStation and Switch, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, whether I think Halo or Gears should be on a PlayStation, I think they eventually will be. It sounds like from the Matt Booty interview, not everything will be day and date because it comes down if the studio can do it. If again, we're seeing an example with id with the next Doom. This can be day and date on PlayStation because they're able to do it. Whereas another studio like Machine Games with Indiana Jones, maybe they couldn't have Indiana Jones ready day and date on PlayStation. So you're going to see basically timed exclusivity on Xbox until they can get the PlayStation version ready. And then obviously Switch 2 is coming. What games are going to be there? The whole point on this is, to wrap it up, Xbox is no longer going to do the classic exclusive with their games tied to their hardware. They're going to make hardware, but up to you if you want to buy it. That's not their thing anymore. They're like, if you want to buy an Xbox console, we'll give it to you. If you don't, you want to play on PC, cool. If you want to wait till the game shows up on PlayStation, cool. Switch, cool. Handheld, cool. You want to get it on Steam, cool. But whatever. That's where they're headed. Whether we like it or not. My only thing on it is, I get there's very loud voices online. People get mad at me with this every day. but it's happening. So let's see how it plays out at this point. At this point, just accept that it's happening. Let's see how it plays out. You can pull the old clips of me talking about Game Pass exclusivity and all these things. I was wrong because the business model changed and the stuff that I've said in the past is wrong. So you go with what, because again, I ain't no insider. I don't know nothing. I just go on what I see. And this is what I see now. If you pay attention to what they've been saying over the past 12 months, it's pretty clear where they're headed with Xbox. So let's see how it plays out. The main thing to take out of all of this, a bunch of great games are on the way. And I think ultimately that's the play that they're going for. They're like, look, we're arguably the biggest publisher in the world now. I know Tencent might be, but they're number one or number two at this point. And now's the time that they need to start delivering great games. And they're basically saying, we don't care where you play them. We're just going to give them to you. You're going to have Game Pass as a part of it. Handhelds are going to be a part of it. Multiple digital stores are going to be a part of it. Here we go. 2025 is going to be a very fascinating year to see how Xbox cements this message of basically every device is an Xbox now. So let's see.
Yeah, well, I agree with you.
I hope someone
100%.
clips this so I don't have to say this again. Clip it and put it online because I don't want to repeat this again.
And tag Paris.
Yes.
No, but you know what's funny, Paris? Like, I could also see this for the future. And I know there's been rumors online too about this, where imagine we got the Xbox handheld or console, whatever, in the future. We have it at home. We're playing Xbox. Hey, want to play Steam? Let's load up the Steam app or the Epic Games Store app from the console or from the handheld and just play like that instead of switching to like a computer, a laptop or PC. I could definitely see that, man. Like I could definitely see where Xbox, Valve, Epic, a bunch of other companies are partnering up and doing these type of things to get a new crowd of people. One, I know Steam had like their Steam machines and all that back in the days. I think it was like they were ahead of their time when it comes to that, a console, but it just didn't work out because, like you said, working with other companies, there was so many different prices. Like everybody was confused, like which one is the right one, which one I should buy. It was just confusing. I had one from Alienware, and I loved it. I discovered a lot of new games, a lot of indie games that was only available on Steam and it wasn't on console. But if Xbox could do this right, I think this could be a pretty big move for the company where, you know what, let's have our partners have their apps there and we're going to have our ecosystem in there too. And people will play. Easy. Load it up. And believe it or not, a lot of companies would love to get a whole new audience that doesn't have a PC, but they have a console. Get them into their ecosystem on Steam or Epic. And now there's an opportunity to sell their games through console players. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think that would be cool. And I think that's a great move. Great move. Because not everybody can afford a PC. So I think this will be like another opportunity that no other company, no PlayStation or Nintendo, they're not doing that at all. And this will be an opportunity for Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, someone, and I'm forgetting who said it, so I apologize, but I was just watching someone talking about this, and they had even said, as far as Xbox continuing to make hardware, I'm like, look, if there's 20 million people out there that still want an Xbox, they're going to make an Xbox for those 20 million people. Obviously, it's not going to compete with whatever Switch or PlayStation is doing from a number standpoint, but there's still going to be people that want that box that's sitting under their television that they just press a button and they play the games, right? Sure. We're going to run into a thing where not every third-party game is going to be on that device, right? Obviously, PlayStation games are not going to be on that device. But if Xbox makes enough compelling games that, and let's say it's reasonably priced, it's $3.99 or something like that, I can stick it under my TV and I press the button and I just play it. Couple that with Game Pass, there are going to be people that still want to do that. Again, with the rumors about them potentially opening up Xbox to third-party vendors, Microsoft, kind of like with the Surface. Surface is basically a reference model for Windows, right? Like, here's hardware that Microsoft recommends, specs, all that. You can then have an Asus, an Acer, or Lenovo, or whoever making their reference model Xboxes that they're probably more expensive, but they run at a higher reference point, frames per second, all these things, right? So that seems to be where they're going. Again, you're going to have your PC stuff, but you're still going to have stuff that sits under the TV. You're going to have these handhelds. It sounds like you're going to open it up so that, sure, you'll have the quote unquote Xbox or Windows Store on these devices, but you'll also have Steam on there as well. You also have the Epic Store in there as well, potentially. Like I said, I ain't smart enough to know if this is going to work. All I know is this is what they're about to do. So let's see how it plays out versus sticking our heads in the sand and pretending it's not going to happen and going, because what I see is people going, well, I'm mad now. I'm not buying an Xbox. I think they're okay with this because if you still want to play Fable, you still want to play Gears, Indiana Jones 12 or whatever, you're still going to go buy those games. So you're still investing in their ecosystem. That's what I see. I'm not saying this is right. I'm just saying this is what it looks like that they're doing. So let's see how it plays out over the next 24 months or so as we go into the next generation of games. And hey, maybe it works. Maybe it doesn't, but this is clearly the strategy that they're taking. So let's see.
Hey, look. And we mentioned this a long time ago, Paris. I can see PlayStation now porting games on Xbox. There's a rumor going on now that Lego Horizon, I forgot the name, Lego Horizon game, it's rumored they're going to be ported on Xbox. Here's the thing. That's a great thing because at the end of the day, I think the old way of just having it as an exclusive for that console, just only for that console and that's it, that's the old formula. People have to understand that developing games, marketing games, all that is so expensive now, more than ever. So the way how companies will make their money back, they have to do things like this, have it release it on PC, on other places, also on console. Like, where was this whole group of people that got mad that Xbox was making this move back when this conversation started earlier this year? Where were they when they saw that Lego Horizon is also coming out on the Switch and potentially now Xbox? I personally think it's a good thing. The business is changing, and we have to get used to it. It's not gonna change. It's not gonna go back to the old way, man. Now, like you said, it might come out in one console and then months later somewhere else, But things are changing, man, and we got to get used to it overall.
No, they are.
No matter what.
I had jumped on Kind of Funny earlier this week and basically said somewhat similar things. I know people got a little mad at me in the comments because I brought up Nintendo, and I was like, we're always like, oh, Nintendo don't count. They're doing their thing. Just that Nintendo's Nintendo. But let's not forget, it was only 8 years ago where the Wii U was a colossal disaster for Nintendo. And it was the Switch that basically completely turned everything about around. Like, I will tell people, do your research. Go back and look at the history of Nintendo. It has not always been mega hits with Nintendo. I mean, sure, the NES kicked it all off, but the Super Nintendo did not sell as well as the NES. The N64 did not sell as well. The GameCube did not sell as well. The Wii was a big hit. Then the Wii U was a disaster. And then obviously the Switch is doing monster numbers, and we'll see obviously continuing this with the Switch too. But it can flip in a generation is the point that I'm trying to make. Whereas sure, this current model might be the way that it's working now, but that isn't 100% guarantee it's going to work next time. So going to everything that you're saying, clearly Microsoft is reading the tea leaves and going, look, going down this current path that we're doing, we're not getting the return on investment that we're looking for. Another thing that factors into a lot of this is long as development times, rising costs with these games. I think Matt Booty even said that it leaked out that, hey, they need shorter development times. They need to make smaller experiences. And we'll obviously get into some of this with our Game of the Year discussion. But the model's starting to get out of control. We've obviously seen massive layoffs, all these things. The other thing that plays into this is time. Like I just mentioned, my kids play Fortnite. That's what they play. Think about me and Pete a few years ago. What did we play? And that was it. And that was it. I wasn't playing nothing else. But that's the point. You can put out all these games, but if one game there's only so much time that you have. All these games are fighting. The biggest resource that we have is time. And if my time is being taken up by one particular game, I don't care how great these other games are. I ain't going to play them because I'm playing this, because that's where all my time is going. You see what I'm saying? So, excuse me again. That factors into a lot of this stuff and how the industry is going to have to readjust to that, because these live service games that demand hundreds of hours of your time is what has disrupted the industry. And only the tippity top of those actually succeed. Clearly, we got an example of that this year with Concord. Obviously, one of the biggest flops in gaming history. I mean, that game lasted 10 days and was gone. Insane. So all I'm saying is, you know, we've been doing this a long time. We obviously try to look at the industry and, you know, give our opinions and kind of predict where things is headed. Look, like I said, 12 months ago, didn't think this was happening. So I will eat my delicious crow. Look, I like to smoke my crow. I like to smoke it, put a nice rub on it, low and slow, 220, you know, for about 5 hours. It's delicious. But I eat my crow because obviously I didn't see this coming a year ago. But here we are. And let's just see where it goes.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen at CES and on, you know, like the changes we're going to get to see and all that stuff. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And hopefully we can talk more about this in 2025, Paris.
I have a strong feeling that we will be continuing to talk about this. Yeah. Here's what I'll say before we go into Game of the Year stuff. And another reason I'm excited to go to CES, I didn't even realize that Lenovo was doing the press briefing with Valve, and Jason Ronald from Xbox is going to be there as well. That's going to kind of give us a peek into where some of this is headed. I know Jez and Tom Warren and a few other people have been saying that by the end of January, this is an Xbox is going to make a lot more sense. So something's happening. What it is, I'm not 100% sure. There's crazy rumors, obviously all that. But I personally think, and I might be eating some more crow, but I think Xbox is about to do something very disruptive. So let's see.